Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head up to Göteborg here in Sweden today, or Gothenburg as you would say in English of course. Quite the beer city these days, so somewhere you need to visit if you're coming to Sweden. And we're going to do my third review from Bryggeriet today. Now this one only came out on the 18th of November in one of the small portiers. This is the Doble Doble, which comes in at 9.5%. And it's a barley wine ale, and I've got the impression that this one will fit more into the English style barley wine because it uses East Kent Goldings hops, so that's my impression of this one, but we'll see how it comes across in the tasting. I've tried two other beers from these guys. One was a porter and the other one was the Yule, so it's been a good 10 months since I've had one of the ocean beers, so looking forward to trying this one. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews I've done from Ocean. I'm sure I'll add more in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel. The whole channel has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city or state, whatever you want. There's also the playlists of beers from different countries that you can check out, as well as whiskey, sake reviews and various other things. But as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries you guys would like to see me review. Always interesting to hear from you guys, and your support is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Bryggeriet then. So Bryggeriet were founded back in 2007 by three friends who often drank together in the same sports bar. So this was Peter Andersson, who was a salesman. There was also Rodrigo Arvidsson, who was the finance man, and there was Thomas Bingebo, who was the brewer. And these guys were largely inspired to start their own company because of the lack of variety of beer in Sweden at the time. So Thomas was actually had brewing experience from Ireland, and he also worked for a period for Jämtlands Bryggeri before becoming part of Ocean. Jämtlands Bryggeri, of course, are one of the older craft brewers here in Sweden, but the beer is now produced at the Lakesholm Brewery in Mölndal in Gothenburg, and they have actually steadily increased their capacity since they were founded. But today their beers are available kind of in various restaurants and things around Gothenburg, and also throughout the rest of Sweden in bottles through Systembolaget. And quite recently they brewed a beer that was called We Can Do It, and this was done in collaboration with Female, who are a very interesting organisation actually. The whole idea behind them is that they want to get more women drinking craft beer and women more heavily involved in the craft beer industry. Of course, beer and things really is a very male-dominated industry and a very kind of male-orientated pastime, if you like. So it's good to see that there are organisations out there trying to get the same interest in beer among women. So we'll see how that goes, but hopefully it's something that really does kind of take off, and I think they've actually been doing quite well with it. So really cool, and it's cool to see that breweries are kind of taking that approach to it as well. So yeah, so just to list the other beers you can get from these guys then. So there's the Glen No. 5, there's the 12 Plato Lager, the India Pale Ale, the West Coast, which is basically West Coast beer. I think that one's an IPA if I'm not mistaken. There's the Ebba Ale, Göteborgsporter, the Yule, and also the Jan Torget's Arbeter Porter. So yeah, some quite interesting beers from these guys. As I said, this is my third review from them, and the other ones I think I reviewed the Göteborgsporter before and also the Yule. So I've tried those two, and this one I think is a kind of one-off special beer. It wasn't listed on the website when I checked it out, but it was listed on the Facebook page. They were saying, of course, we've released this one through Small Portier, so go and check it out. So yeah, it should be quite interesting. This is a different bottle than what normally they do use actually. So this one's actually more like some of the bottles you'll see from Omnipoyo and things. Usually Bryggeriet give their beers in half-litre bottles actually. So it's quite interesting to see them using one of these smaller beers, but it's quite nicely presented. As you can see there's a sort of, I think that's one of the trams, one of the Gothenburg trams there, the old style tram. I was ready to say it was a Volkswagen hippie van. But yeah, quite nicely presented. This one, just a small label there. I don't know if that's saying there that the artist for this one, this is the second edition apparently, but it says there it's got Kent Larsson's name on the side, so maybe he's the artist who produced this one. But as I said, I checked out the Facebook post and it said that this guy had East Kent Goldings hops in it, and it's 9.5% ABV, but other than that there wasn't so much information available on this beer. But 33 centilitre bottle, 330 millilitres. There's the Ocean bottle cap, which is the standard one, and we'll see how we get on with this one then. So let's get it open and have a taste of this beer. Looking forward to it. So yeah, nice little bit of a smoky opening there, but not too much. And we'll get this guy out and into the glass. Oh, this guy doesn't seem like it's going to have a head on it. Yeah, that's quite interesting. So yeah, as you can see with this beer, it's poured a really kind of, I think it's fair to say that's a sort of dark coppery mahogany colour on this one. Absolutely no head on it, which is quite interesting. Some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, but quite a few smaller ones just going up towards the bottom of that head. If I hold this beer up in front of the light, it really is, yeah, I think mahogany, a sort of stained mahogany colour, is a good way to describe this beer, but it's quite coppery. But really nice looking beer actually. When you're moving it around, you can smell a little bit of bready character, you know, some toasted caramel, maybe a bit of biscuit and things like that. And you can smell a little bit of the earthy hop, of course. That'll be the East Kent Goldings coming out. So let's have a closer look at the aroma of this one and see how we get on with it. Yeah, definitely, they've definitely used an English sort of yeast in this one, I would say. You can really smell these kind of English ale characters in this beer. So you've got a bit of a toasted caramel, but it's actually coming across as more biscuity. It reminds me a lot of the digestive biscuits. I'm not sure if you get those in Sweden, but digestive biscuits are very, very popular back home in Scotland, and I think Americans do actually get them as well. So I do wonder if you can actually get them in Sweden. I'll need to pay attention and see if I can find them. McVitie's digestives. But you can really get the English earthiness, the earthy character out of the hop in this one. It actually doesn't smell so boozy as you normally get from a barley wine ale. This one, you know, definitely, that's the key difference between the American and the English style barley wines. The English one really is more earthy and grassy and things like that, and it can be a bit darker in the caramel, whereas the American one really is more sweet. It's got a lot of tropical fruit and things like that in it, depending of course on what hops they use in it, and of course how long it's aged as well. But yeah, basically the American one is more sweet and fruity, whereas the English one has a little bit of fruit, but it's more earthy and kind of toasted actually. But yeah, it's a really nice smelling beer, this one. Just take a little bit of time and enjoy it, but really it does lean more towards that English side of things. So some earthy hops, there's a bit of grassy character coming out of it as well. You can get some of the red fruits. To me, it's coming across like a kind of candied red fruit ester. I always compare it to the sort of Haribo Star Mix sweets, that sort of red candied fruity ester thing that you get going on. You can really pick out that. There's maybe a little bit of figgy character in there as well though. But yeah, some toasted caramel, a bit of a brown bready character to this one, but a lot of earthy hop. As I say, that's the East Kent Goldings coming out of this one. Still no head on this one when you sugar it up. You do get a little bit of bubble around the edge of the glass, but really not very much. It looks as if it would be a pretty white head, maybe a sort of creamy beige colour. You can see the beer does have a degree of transparency as well if I put my hand behind the glass there, but overall, very nice looking beer, typical kind of English barley wine smell. So let's get stuck into this one. This is the Doble Doble from Ocean Bryggeriet up in Mölndal in Gothenburg. Skål! That's actually quite nice. There's no real hoppy character to this beer. It doesn't have any hop bitterness at all to it. You can pick up a little bit of earthy character on the sides of your tongue, but otherwise it really does come across just as it's almost like some of the Malztrinken that I used to have in Germany. It really doesn't have very much hoppy character to it at all. Yeah, it's quite boozy though. It's actually very nice. It's quite an easy drinking one, this. So, yeah, in terms of the flavours of this beer, the middle of your palate is just kind of blanketed with this almost pale malty character, but then on top of that you get a little bit more of a kind of thicker brown bready character, almost like wholemeal bread actually. You can really pick that out of this beer. Definitely has this nice, I really like that actually. There's a bit of toasty grain coming out in the palate on this one as well, which is interesting. So you have that pale malt base, on top of that you get some thicker kind of doughy brown bread. There's a bit of a grainy character, but there's a lot of sweet caramel in this beer. As I say, it really reminds me of these Malztrinken beers that you get in Germany, the zero alcohol things, but it pretty much is just like drinking a kind of caramel syrupy thing. That's what this beer is like actually. This one actually reminds me quite a bit of the Samichlaus Helles that I reviewed recently from Austria. This beer reminds me a lot of that actually. It's got the same feel to it. But in the back corners of the palate, you can feel there's a little bit of an earthy character there. You can feel just a little bit of bitterness pushing its way out, but there's really not very much at all. As you come further forward, it smooths out and smooths out and smooths out, and then there's a very light kind of grassy character just around the front curve of your tongue there. It's really nice. If you just go behind the front curve of your tongue, you'll feel this little oily bubble, and that's where these red fruity esters are coming out of the beer as well. But overall, the main focus of this beer really is on the malt side of things. As I say, it really is just a big malty brew, this one. The hoppy character on this one is just, it's almost invisible actually, it really is. Not a lot of hoppiness to this beer at all. So yeah, middle of the palate, like I say, pale malt, bit of brown bready character. There's a wee tiny bit of a toasted graininess, but really it's a big sweet caramel. It's slightly toasted as well actually. You can taste a little bit of biscuity character, as I was saying. That almost kind of slightly corny syrupy flavour that you get from McVitie's digestive biscuits coming out of this one, which is quite interesting. There's maybe, as you move into the aftertaste, it does get a little bit sweeter. There could be an almost slightly nutty flavour coming out of this one, but overall, it's really quite interesting actually. It's quite nice. This, as I say, it reminds me of the Malztrinken, and a beer that this one is comparable to is the Helles beer from Samichlaus in Austria. That's really quite interesting. This. So yeah, would I drink this beer again? I would. I would say though, just be aware of this one. It is completely, it's almost completely malt. There's very little hoppy character in the way of this one. In terms of the English style of barley wine ale, I can see how it would fit into that because it's got a bit of the earthy hop in it. But overall, it more has the kind of sweetness that you'd expect from the malt base of an American one. But it does have a bit more English flavours. The sweetness is up there with the American barley wines, but the actual flavour of that sweetness is more like the English one, so it's quite interesting in that regard, but it doesn't have the big hoppy presence that you'd normally expect of this style, so it is a little bit quirky in that regard, but I quite like it. But it really is just, it almost is just like a malt syrup, this beer. I would drink it again. In terms of drinking this beer, you know, this would be good with like vanilla ice cream and caramel sauce or hot fudge or something like that. That's the sort of thing you would want to drink this beer with. It really is just almost like a sweet kind of malty syrup, this beer. In terms of the mouthfeel, I'd say this guy is probably mid-bodied. It's got quite an oily mouthfeel to it. The carbonation is very smooth as well. As I said, it really focuses on the malt sweetness. There's a tiny little bit of hoppy character to it, a little bit of bitterness in the back corners of your palate, but as you come further forward, very, very smooth, and a nice juicy little bit of fruity character. As I say, that kind of candied red fruit ester, maybe even pushing the figgy variety as well. But overall, it is quite nice. I'd certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink it again. I'd love to try it with some ice cream or something like that actually and see how it comes out. But just be aware if you're trying this one, it really is just a big sort of malty syrup rather than a kind of English style barley wine or an American style barley wine, but it does have more of that English barley wine flavour. But overall, it's a nice beer and I would drink it again. So yeah, always interesting to try these different beers. It's been cool to do my third review from Ocean Bryggeriet. If you have tried this beer before, let me know your own thoughts on it in the comment section below. It's always interesting to hear from you guys. But thank you for watching my beer reviews. I hope you've enjoyed it. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Do check out all my social media. Make sure you support your local craft breweries, and I will catch you very soon with more beer reviews, and I'm sure we'll return to Ocean Bryggeriet and Gothenburg, of course, in general in the very near future. Until the next time, it's Slangy just now. Make sure you check out this beer while it's available in the small portiers from Systembolaget. Cheers.